Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have David Kamjoo on the line, and he's founder over at 1833ineedawebsite.com. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on the show.
So I'm excited to get more into what you're doing at 1833ineedawebsite.com and how you got your company started. And first off, great catchy name. I'm excited to get more into it. But before we do that, though, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in your career and as an entrepreneur?
So it kind of started out, as childhood over in elementary school. We had days where we bring in things to show off to the class, and I actually happened to have a turtle at that age. I think I don't remember, 9, 10, 11 years old. And I figured, you take in the turtle, you show off the turtle, everyone gets excited. But then I figured afterwards, when we had either recess or PE or even after school, I wouldn't be able to sit there and take care of my turtle myself because I wanted to go play basketball. And I knew that lunch was 65 cents and everyone would get 35 cents back in change because everyone had $1. So what I did is ended up hiring someone to sit there to watch my turtle. And people would pay to see the turtle, so it would be covered. If you want to see the turtle, you would pay 35 cents because that's how much you had back from lunch money. I would give the guy 15 cents for each time he would take the money for each person that viewed it. I would take 20. I'd still be able to play basketball, and I'd make money off it. So I had a little bit of entrepreneurial spirit ever since I was younger, and I've always been, I always wanted to start different businesses and see what I could do to grow it. And it's kind of led me through different things throughout my career, through my path. Now everything has been, fully successful because you definitely have to try and see if it works out. But it started at a fairly young age.
Oh my gosh, I think that's top 2 stories for how someone got started. And I'm thinking in my mind, I've done over 1,000 interviews, and this is the first one where it's like, yeah, I rented out my turtle. Awesome. So I could go play. The only other one that even comes close to this story is somebody that used to package and sell dirt and rocks to kids. I was like, what? You're selling dirt and rocks to kids that you picked up at the creek? But yours. Are you kidding me? You were renting out your turtle visitation. So you could,
I hate to
and you didn't even have to watch the turtle. I love it.
It sounds bad. It sounds like I was pimping my turtle, but
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I love it. So David, obviously many years past your turtle days, and now you have your business and other work experiences under your belt. So that being said, there's some younger entrepreneurs and a couple of years out of school, or maybe they're just getting out of school, or maybe they didn't go to school and they're just starting direct into their career. What kind of advice would you give to them on kind of going down that entrepreneurial path?
A few different tips. So one is focus. The issues that I had that I learned from as I've kind of grown into more of a entrepreneur, true entrepreneur, is people always have ideas, thousands of ideas. I used to always have ideas, and I would write them down. And I would just write them down. I wouldn't do anything with it. Then I started figuring out, okay, I have a few ideas. Let me do a few things with them. So I would do 2, 3, 4, 5 things at a time. And I found that was not effective because you tend to put 10% in one project, 20% in another project, and it becomes careless and sloppy, and you don't put full attention. So primary thing is put focus 100% into one thing. Take the one thing that works well for you that you think may succeed and put all your effort into it. And that allows you to eliminate the distribution of the time and effort that you put into multiple businesses. 2 is make things happen. So even though you might have a great idea, don't just write it down. Don't just think about it. Do some research. Talk to people. Do some research online. Google it. Even if it's a few $100s to invest, try it out. And don't give up the first or second or third time. You've got to do things a few times until it actually works. Thinking about myself, even when I started trying to do my own websites, a while back I was trying to sell bidets from China. So we ordered 1,000 bidets, $5 a piece. Didn't know what the market was. Didn't know if it would sell. But went to eBay, went to Amazon. I did, we'd go to different stores. We'd go to plumbing stores and try to sell them. It was okay, but the effort was that I did it. I tried it. I learned a lot, and it doesn't have to apply. What you learn doesn't mean it's not going to apply to all businesses, because it typically does. You learn sales, you learn marketing, you learn more about finance. So definitely make things happen. And lastly, find people to help you, because one of the things I think people tend to forget is other people have probably done what you've done, and the best way to learn from it is to talk to those people. Even if you can, talk to people who've been entrepreneurs, talk to people who've started businesses. So it doesn't have to be the same business that you're doing. You're just trying to figure out, what did people do, what steps did they take, how did they succeed, and more importantly, why did they fail? Was it because they didn't do marketing? Was it because people didn't reach out? Was it specific distribution channels? Those are probably the top 3 recommendations that I'd give any entrepreneur, any young entrepreneur, anybody who wants to start some sort of business.
And that's awesome. So great stuff there. And let's switch it up a bit. I do want to get into what you're doing over at 1-833-I-NEED-A-WEBSITE.com. So first, tell us a little bit more about the business, please.
Yeah. To be honest, we started the business 7 years ago. My sister was working at a dental office, and the owner wanted a website. She came to me one day and said, "Hey, listen, we're looking for a website developer. The quotes that we got were $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. What do you think?" And I said, "It doesn't sound right. It can't be that expensive to make a website." So I went out, found a bunch of developers, found overseas developers over in India and China. I said, "Let me make it for you." That was my first project. I wasn't even in business at that time. And I found that you can still get high quality development from overseas developers at a much more competitive cost, because most people here don't know what a website costs. Even now today, when I get a potential client and they give me the different quotes that they've got from other website developers, are quite ridiculous. I had one the other day who was quoted $60,000 by a company who develops websites for Lamborghini for a very basic website. So I think people get scammed and tricked into paying high amounts for something that can be done at a much more competitive cost. So that was, I started the website company back then. We've had a few different name changes, but as you mentioned, this is the most recent site that we've kind of branched off to, 1-833 website, I-NEED-A-WEBSITE.com. Essentially, we do any sort of website design. We do brand new websites. We update existing websites. We work with different languages. We do WordPress, Magento, Joomla. We do search engine optimization, phone application. Essentially, my motto is, if I can do it, I will do it. If it's something that we don't have the skill set to do, we won't do it. In fact, I don't even give a price until I know exactly what the requirements are. And then within our contracts, we set milestones so that if a certain individual or business wants something done, they actually see proof in progress before they're making payments. So I do it in a much more fair and equitable way. And in addition to that, we charge as a fixed price. So normally when you call a company and say, well, what do you charge an hourly? You might say $20, $30, $40, but you don't know how many hours it's going to take to finish the project. So you may end up spending thousands of dollars and still may not complete the website. So you will get, when we get clients, they'll get a fixed cost up front. So they'll know exactly how much they're spending, when it's going to be done, what time frame, and then frequent updates. So that's, what we've been practicing for the last 6-7 years, and it's worked out really well for us.
What do you find are some of the challenges that some of these companies have in getting a website done? Because, just throwing this out there, I think there's a lot of people that are in the situation of what you just now mentioned. So your friend that had someone that needed a site, and they were getting these quotes and all these other things, and they don't really know much about the landscape. I know there's plenty of professionals listening to this right now that are still held off on that thing of doing a website, or they started out with a very basic website and they know they need to kind of upgrade it, or they know they need some other things that their current, maybe service that they bought right out of the box isn't doing. What do you find are some of the challenges of these people in kind of upgrading and getting that next thing going? Because we know it's needed. That's the thing. We know it's needed 100%. This isn't a passing fad. We know we need to have online presence now. What are some of those challenges you found?
So many who call, I don't know anything about a website, which is fair. I don't, our expectation is not for that person to know, because That's not the business they're in. That's our role to give the guidance and say, here's what you need, here's what you don't need, here's how. So number one is the challenge is they don't know what they're looking for. And what I always use as a point of guidance is show me an example site that you like. It doesn't have to be the same business. Tell me the layout, tell me the colors, look at the functionality. That's the starting point. As we use that as a starting point, then we walk through them and say, you like this feature and that feature. And we make it more of into a shopping cart, right? Because what you're doing is building out what you want the site to do. So a lot of the discussions we're having is, what do you want the site to do? How do you want it to look and feel? And that helps initiate the discussions. Some of the other challenges are budget. Most people come in and say, I need a website, and they want it for a few $100s. Unfortunately, for a few $100s, you're not going to get a lot of pages because, as you can imagine, to build a site takes a few hours, a few days, depending on the functionality. To even do the design can take a few hours. So some people, I think, have to be realistic about their budget and their expectations. Now, we try to work along with our clients' budgets as best as we can, but it's more of a realistic. It's going, for example, if you go to buy a car or buy a house and say, I want to get a Mercedes for $1,000, it's simply not going to happen because the market rates are not $1,000 for a Mercedes. Or if you want a house and you want to add windows and doors and a nice shower, those things add up just like a similar website functionality. So again, one is knowing the website and the requirements. Two is the budget. And three is just management of the site. You know, people want to run their businesses. They don't have time to go and make the updates. So what we offer is an ability and more of a package to help with the maintenance. So maybe on a monthly minimum, they need a few hours of work, or they need their website backed up, or they have a virus and they want it cleaned up. We provide those ongoing supports in addition to after completing the site.
What's the so if somebody's listening to this and it sounds good and they're like, all right, this sounds like something that I need to think about. What's the sweet spot in terms of client that you like working with? Is it only small businesses? Is it only large businesses, mid-size? I mean, what's your sweet spot for what's a good fit for 1833 I Need a Website?
Yeah, for our company, we're open to any kind of client. We don't discriminate against the lower budget clients, large corporations. If it's within our wheelhouse and we can do it, we will deliver it. And that's really the model that I use. I don't like to take on projects because I think what happens with a lot of individuals and companies today is they'll find someone on Craigslist and get a very competitive quote and think, wow, that's amazing. It's so cheap. Let me do it. And then I get a call later after maybe a few months of their project and said, hey, the guy took my money. Or, hey, the guy has my username and password. I can't get in. Or I've paid him and he disappeared. Or he doesn't have a high quality, or he's not responding back to me. So what for us, we're here in Los Angeles. We're local. We meet people in person. We have contracts. We have a corporation. We have references. We've done over 100 projects. So we're an established company, and we serve all sorts of clients from small to large.
That's awesome, David. So if somebody does want more information, what's the best way for them to reach out?
This is probably one of the easiest ways. As you mentioned, our website URL is 1833ineedawebsite.com, or you can toll free as well, 1833 I Need a Website. We basically work almost 24 hours a day. So if you call me 10 o'clock at night, I will answer it. If you call me 7 o'clock in the morning, I will answer it. So, feel free to reach out. We always like to talk to our clients for a few minutes to understand what their needs are, and then we always provide same-day proposals. So, we look forward to helping our customers expand and grow their businesses and giving them quality work at a very competitive price.
Fantastic. Well, hey, David, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about the great work you're doing over at 1833 I Need a Website. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes store, share this with your friends and family. I mean, do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And David, thanks again for coming on the show.